Should I go on? Is it rolling, guys? Is it? Oh, okay. How do I look? This okay now? Yeah, okay, let's get started. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about top 10 tips on how to prepare for a visa interview. Now, I know that visa centers nowadays are starting their first phase of reopening, so I figure this is the best time for you to prepare your next trip. Now, if you are a traveler or planning to move to another country, then keep watching. Now, before we start, my name is Noor and I do upload videos about life tips and tricks and also vlogs about living situations here and abroad. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome and consider subscribing. So like I said, in today's video, we're going to talk about preparing your next visa interview. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 1, choose the earliest appointment. Now, people are saying that the consul or the interviewer might have that fresh mind because they just started their shift and you're gonna have a positive result from your application. And at the same time, you're gonna have like more time, or if you are the person who do not want to wait any longer and do not want to prolong the agony, then of course, the earlier time is the best time for you to choose. All right? Number 2, review your documents. Now, you might be thinking that, why do I have to get back or go back to the documents that I have already submitted? Now, one of the things that the consul might be considering is, of course, if you are aware or if you know the details of the documents that you have submitted. So they might ask you things that are like indirectly mentioned on your application. So be ready. Make sure that what you're saying matches the details on the documents that you have submitted. Now, for example, if they ask you about like your employment date, or for example the coverage of your vacation leave, they might ask you how many days and it starts when, something like that. If you do not know the answer, just be honest. Luckily, if you have, for example, if the interview was done over the phone or was made over the phone, now just be careful and just be ready, because if you have a phone interview for a visa, then it's a lot better than going there personally, because at least you will have the chance to prepare all the paperwork with you while you are answering the questions. All right. Number 3, do some research. Now, do some research about events that's happening on your travel period. Now, I would like to share you one story about me being in France. Like, for example, because I went to Paris in early January, and that time I didn't know what is going on in Paris, because I was like, okay, the same with my previous travels, there shouldn't be any issue or major issue about, me going to another country, and also no difference. But I was wrong, because you know why? When I arrived in Paris airport, there was a strike. Meaning there's no trains, there's no like metros, and only selected buses are like operating. And it was a lot of mess, because I had to change my itinerary, I had to book Uber, and people does not speak English, so I have to ask for like the cheapest way or the easier way to get into my hotel room. But there was no option that time, because I arrived at around 9 p.m. Like, how on earth that metros in Paris are not operating at 9 p.m. So that's what I was thinking. It was ridiculous, and I was so pissed off, when I arrived there. But I didn't do anything. I couldn't do anything because I did not do all my research, and I did not read the news about Paris. So it was my fault that I got there and there was like some sort of a strike. If you don't want to end up in that situation, then do your own research about events on your travel period. At the same time, do some research about the country's top places to visit, because why? They might be asking you that. Like, for example, in my case, I was asked first why Denmark, or why the country Denmark is my choice when it comes to visiting as a tourist, and at the same time, which places in Denmark I'd like to visit. And if I did not prepare for that, then I wouldn't know. Trust me guys, they can be tough at the beginning, but if you know how to answer, then it's not going to be that difficult as you thought. All right. So number 4, create an itinerary. Now, you have to create it yourself. Do not let anybody create it for you, because why? You have to be familiar with it. Now, if you are the person who can easily memorize a list, like daily activities, something like that, then it's okay. You can ask somebody to create it for you, and then you can just review it at the end of that activity. Or if you want to be more familiar, with whatever it is that you're planning to do in that country, then better to create it yourself, so that when they ask you about your itinerary or your activity, then you don't have to like memorize it, or you don't have to think it over for a longer time, because you are familiar, because you are the one who made that. All right. Now, number 5, create a cover letter. Now, what's the difference between an itinerary and a cover letter? Now, a cover letter is like a letter with your introduction that you are going there as a tourist and you are living in this country and you want to visit there as a tourist, and here's your journey from this day up to this day. You're going to be staying there, and here are your activities, and you're going to get back to your home country because you have a work to attend. So something like that. So it's like indirectly telling them that you're gonna appreciate a lot if they grant you that visa because it's your dream to experience this and to like see this, you know, something like that. So a cover letter is your ultimate guide when it comes to answering interview questions because everything should be in there, you know. You can do your own research about how to create that. Like I said, in a nutshell, it's about telling them, please grant me a visa because I would love to go to these places. And by the way, a cover letter is not required during your application, but I've heard a lot of people are granted because of, you know, with the help of a cover letter. So that really helps so much when it comes to answering the question because, you know, once you have at least a cover letter, there's a chance that you're not gonna forget whatever it is that you have put in there because it's like in one page or in a single page. All right. Number 6, practice. Now, after you have done all those research and creating itinerary and a cover letter, then of course you have to practice that because sometimes it's easier said than done. You know, sometimes you always think that, okay, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be able to answer the questions and I'm going to be able to get that visa approval. You know what I mean? Now, if you're lucky enough, then there's no need for you to prepare. You know what I mean? But for my case, I had to prepare because I thought I would never get that. In the first place, I've been looking at a lot of videos about like answering interview questions for visa, and none of the videos are telling me like the actual interview questions, and at the same time I was not really convinced with how they showcase the manner of answering it. When I asked my friends, like I am the person who wants to travel regardless if I'm with someone or if I'm alone, I would still go and travel out, you know what I mean? Now my situation is like going as a tourist alone, like I do not have any relatives, I do not, or no one sponsoring me on this trip. So I've been looking at preparing for interview or YouTube videos about, you know, how to prepare a visa interview for an applicant who is just going there as a tourist, you know. This is like my ultimate advice to you guys is when you are applying as a tourist, then imagine that you are not connected with anybody in that country. So I had to prepare maybe like 300 times than I was expecting because I didn't want to ruin that chance of me getting the visa. All right, so practice, guys. Start with your own computer or maybe do your own research and then maybe come up with interview questions and do it in front of a mirror and observe how your gestures and, you know, keeping the eye contact, and same as like answering a regular interview question. And at the same time, when you are practicing, also ask yourself, you know, why will they grant you a visa and why will you go there as a tourist and what will you be doing there? So these are the questions that you should have in mind because these are very important, because once they ask you that, then it will be a lot easier for you to answer it back because you already have that practice at home. So number 7, be confident and sound natural. Now first you have to be confident. Now my personal advice here is you just have to be honest. When you are honest, then you will look confident and also you will sound natural. You know, you don't want to end up oversharing things that are not necessary and even like pleasing the interviewer. Sometimes that might not work. You don't need to overshare. You don't need to like sugarcoat it with many things that's unnecessary. It's okay if you started a conversation like that, but you know, imagine that if it's not needed, then you know, less talk means less mistakes. So just imagine that or just think about that. And at the same time, you have to be really honest. So of course, if you're honest and you don't have to like memorize things, you just have to be really familiar. And if you are familiar with these things that you are thinking about, then of course you will look and sound confident and of course natural at the same time. So be honest, guys, and be confident. Number 8, be humble. Now, you have to think that you are the one who needs the visa. It's not them who wants you to be a tourist there. You know what I mean? So you are the one who needs that. So just be humble, guys. Just keep on agreeing and just say yes to whatever they're saying, unfortunately, because this isn't the best time to like speak your mind, you know? Whatever it is that they're asking you to do, which is beneficial, then of course you have to do that, you know? One of the things that I would like to share with you guys is when I was in Armenia. In Armenia, for my passport, I don't need to apply for a visa before I travel there. I will be given a visa at the airport already. Now, I don't know if it was like a coincidence that they are really like doing this for Filipinos, but my experience was when I was at the immigration border, my passport has a cover on it. It has a sticker which is for an electronic gate here in Dubai. Now, I didn't want to remove that because I might have in trouble when I get back, but the immigration officer asked me to remove it, and I was like, I was not fighting back, but I was just saying, no, can I not remove it because this is needed when I get back to Dubai. And it's like he doesn't care, you know what I mean? So he started yelling at me. So I was like, okay, I was standing on the side and then I was trying to remove it because it was stuck there for a very long time. But if I was thinking that if I would fight back, then I might not be able to like get the visa approval. But I was thinking that, okay, I'm just gonna let this pass because at the end of the day, I am the one who needs a visa, and they didn't ask me to come to Armenia as a tourist. I was the one who wanted to go there for a tour. At the same time, I have spent so much to come here and travel here and spend a lot of money when it comes to planning for this trip. So I don't want to mess it up. I'm just gonna let it pass. Anyway, it's just a cover, and I'm just gonna keep it with me. So whenever I get back to Dubai, then of course I'm just gonna let them know that it was removed by the immigration officer from Armenia. So yeah, so be humble, guys. Do not argue and do not contradict with whatever the consul is saying, because at the end of the day, you are the one who needs the visa and it's not them. All right. Number 9, dress properly. Now this one applies to those who are going for a personal interview. Now there was a country, I think it was United States, that it's not optional for you to like be interviewed. Like you really have to go through the interview with the immigration officer or with a consul when you apply for a tourist visa. Now my experience was when I was there at the embassy already, I was just wearing a polo shirt. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not right to wear a polo shirt, but my personal experience was I felt the need of wearing more than just a polo shirt because noticing the people or the applicants who were there was even like a family applicants who went there with their kids, and they're all well dressed, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that this might affect the consul on how they look at you during the interview, but of course you have to make sure that you're dressed up well. You don't really need to go over the top, by the way. Don't dress up like you own the entire building. Just make sure that you dress up well and you look presentable. I don't know how you mean that. Just think that you are going to the White House. I think that's gonna be a right term. All right. Number 10, last but not the least, think positive. Now, I know this one should be the first one, but I want to stress this one out more. So basically, from the beginning, this is what you should have in your mind. You have to think positively that you're going to get the approval and you're going to get that visa and you're going to get to that country. So first of all, you have to carry this with you. From the time that you started thinking or even thinking about that country up until going on the interview day or the interview appointment, you should carry that with you all the time. Because no matter what happens, it's gonna be you who will be happy about the result. So basically, stay positive. Do not overthink. I know the journey is a lot complicated than we thought, but at least once you get that approval, then that is like the most rewarding part of that journey. All right. Trust me, guys, you're gonna get that visa approval. Okay. All right. So that's our top 10 tips on how to prepare for a visa interview, and I hope you have learned a lot from this. And I hope that this one helps you a lot when it comes to overcoming your fear about not being able to prepare for your next visa application. If you still have any questions, please leave a comment down below and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to be the next one to watch my next upload, then just hit the bell icon. So till next time, guys. Bye. Peace.